been such a long time coming, man. What's up, Sata? I go by the name Tahi, and welcome to the EFF Youth Corner. Are we gonna attempt to it?
Yeah.
So basically, this is a youth podcast by the EFF EFF Student Command. I'm still gonna get that right, and I am with two very beautiful people, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bugisa. I'm the co-host, and Tahi's the host. I hope you guys tune into each and every episode. Let's have fun, man.
So you guys are seeing me here now. I'm going to learn a lot about politics and I'm going to educate you guys a lot, man. I'm going to show you guys and teach you guys as much as I possibly can. That's my camera over there. Sorry, my bad. I'm looking at that one over there, man. There's so much to learn. There's so many issues we're going to dwell into. It's not just going to be about politics. It's going to be so much current affairs, trends, vibes, reactions. She's so fun. She's actually a president of the EFFFC on Wits. I don't know why she don't want to say it. She's very vocal. She's very bold. And we've got a male president on the other hand. They're very bold. And I'm just a very person that's like in the middle, entertainment. I do reviews. I'm a TikToker. But I'm sitting here with the greats, man. It feels really good. But if you have controversial opinions about the EFF, they're still welcome, right? There's no cutting, there's no chopping. Whatever opinion you have, you're welcome. It's not just necessarily about the EFF.
My question is why do you think it's important to bring people that aren't only just popular? Because of course, most podcasts in South Africa that exist right now go with hype and what's popular at that particular point, but don't necessarily speak to the lived realities of the South African youth. Why do you think it's important to merge politics and also what generally the youth likes at that particular time?
Look, I think too often as people who are in politics, we love the sound of our voices.
Yeah.
We always want to be at the center, take the center stage, the main attraction, center of attention. So you want to create a platform where anyone, from the young athletes that went to the Olympics can come, from abantu ababhizi ngamapiano in the township, Soweto, Ekasi, to Kukule, to all of them. You want to bring them here, and they must tell us, because another problem is that we think we know too much.
Real.
We think we understand our constituency, when in actual fact we don't really understand them as well as we think we do. So they must come and tell us that, look, actually, we don't think that this student movement of the EFF is appealing to us because it's boring, it's this, it's that. And we must take it. Of course, on certain issues, we're going to debate with them. We're not just going to agree.
Take everything,
but we must listen.
Yeah.
So I think the platform is for them to come to speak, but also for us to listen and for South Africans to be able to have a space that is organized for the EFF, that is youthful, that is vibey. We rock.
I think during my term, time in the EFFSC, the one thing that has stood out with your term is the fact that you don't necessarily just look at, okay, what are the policies of the EFF? How do we go to the ground and connect with young people? But just also inhibiting spaces that young people inhibit. So for instance, when you look at what you did during elections with going to Wamaimai and interacting with young people, because young people go there. Yeah. Where do you actually get the time and also just generally the creativity for that? Because even thinking about an idea of having an EFF youth-based podcast is not something that's done in South Africa already. Yeah. So tell us, where do you get this creativity?
Look, we lead with a collective of people who come up with the ideas.
Yeah.
I think one of the good qualities of any leader is being able to listen.
Sure.
Yeah. And appreciate that you don't know everything. So, even with the setup here, I was like, guys, I don't want to tell you what to do. Just do it the way you want to do it. When we approached Tahi, we said, Tahi, we're not going to
tell you how to do it.
If you want to shout. If you want to do this, do that. So I think what's important is we listen to guys like Tahi, not only Tahi, but other people who help us in the industry, in the EFF. And they come up with ideas and we run them through, we test them out. When they work, they become great. Those that don't work, we don't. So I think that's been one thing that has given us an edge, is that we listen to all the ideas that come. Of course, we also come up with our own, but more importantly is that we listen. Till now we study politics.
Yeah.
Too much.
And we can bore you because we can speak politics the whole night. So we need people in our space who can be able to persuade us differently.
Sure.
Yeah.
So would you attribute this creativity to the reason why the EFF has garnered so much support with young people in South Africa. We haven't, I think your term specifically, you haven't tried to like box yourself in just what has been done previously, but you also try to just be different, come up with creative ways to engage the youth.
Yeah.
So would you attribute that particular creativity to the reason why you've garnered so much support, just not only in high institutions?
I think the
youth in
EFF
general?
also helps.
Yeah.
Because you see, with other political organizations, we'd be lying to make a claim that the ANC, for example, doesn't have creative youth.
Of course.
But the problem is that in the ANC, they suppress the voices of young people. So they don't allow young people to fully express themselves by doing this and that. Probably like in other organizations, for us to set up something like this, we'd have to go through so many processes, write an email to this one, then you must approve, then can you use the president's face, then can you use the logo. So the EFF also helps because it creates an environment for us to mess around, make mistakes, and then where they must call us to line, they do that. So I'd say it helps to have a mother body that creates an environment for young people to flourish.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys excel a lot because, I mean, you guys have a lot of youth in it. Even the president isn't that old. He's not as old as Jacob Zuma, for example. You know, he's not as old as Cyril Ramaphosa. That's why you guys excel so much. And I must say, during when you guys were campaigning for the national elections, you guys had us on like stages, you know? You had myself, you had Vinny, you had Sima, the likes of the Zealous out there.
Yeah.
That was really dope, you know, and we really shared our voices and we felt like we belonged and everybody else really liked our videos and our views were just heard, you know? So that kind of drove, you know, the youth to, you know, into politics and to understand some sort of policies to go read up and understand all of this, which is what we're going to be talking about going forward, right? So I just want to say, man, there's this article I read. I don't know much about politics, but I'll go on the news and I'll read, right? So I think it's from Action SA, right? So they basically say the EFF and the MK, you guys didn't declare your donations correctly. You guys only declared like 3.5 million rands, but there was actually, your campaign was worth about 200 million.
Look, I mean, I don't know where they get those numbers from.
Yeah, but honestly, from a point of a fan, looking from outside, you guys did Moses. You guys did all the provinces,
big
and all
projects.
the provinces were big. And looking at the number of artists you guys had, you guys still had to poke me, still had to, you guys put me in a V class. Do you understand? So that money, I don't think it really actually accumulates like 3.5. It's way over.
Look, the legislation, so the declarations themselves don't necessarily account for the other support. Look, some people would do things and not tell us to pay.
Yeah.
You could argue that if you were to be economical about it, okay, opportunities of cost, Taki is doing this for us, but typically it should be charging us 50,000 or whatever. An economist can say, in a way, that's a donation.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of things like that in the EFF. Someone else will say, look, I've got a stage, I've got this.
I can donate.
Just use it, then bring it back. The specification of the IEC is
mandatory.
when people then come to the organization. And then they even say, I think it's below, what is it, 100,000, what, a million or 100,000. And then we tend to tell our people to keep it below that amount. Because remember, these guys, they purge people who support the EFF. So if I'm a business person and I want to support the EFF, I'm either doing business with government or I'm doing business with the corporate sector. Of course, because they've got a particular view against the EFF.
Of course.
And then they see a business person funding the EFF. They then cut business ties with that person. Even with you artists, I mean, you guys, you are very bold to actually come.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, if I have this mega money and I'm saying, guys, please, here's a stage worth 500,000 rands. What do I stand to benefit? Like in future, you guys are gonna give me tenders. Is it the way?
No, not tenders. Remember, our cardinal pillars is against tenders.
Yeah.
Look, there are people who genuinely believe in the vision that the EFF has for South Africa.
Yeah.
And they demonstrate this through the contributions they make, whether monetary wise, whether even you guys. I mean, and like again, as you're saying, we'll get to it somewhere. But you guys risk a lot by coming to our stages.
True.
Because there are people who say, look, I would have given Taki this gig in a club, but because the club owner is linked to the DA or the ANC, they're like, this guy mustn't come. So, but because you believe in the vision that the EFF has for South Africa, inclusion of young people in politics, trying to, take back the land, take back the economy so that it's owned by the people of South Africa, empowering the youth, free education and all of that. You are willing to take those risks. So there are business people like that, but we must protect some of them and say, brah, Don't give us
Too much.
100,000.
Yeah.
Give us 99,999. So that these people, they don't pay you because you're supporting the EFF. And it's not wrong. Because
And it
if the
isn't.
speed
It really
limit there
isn't.
in the highway is 120 and you're driving 118.
Yeah.
Are you doing something illegal?
No.
I just wanna you're the president, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, as a president, you are put there by people.
Of course.
Obviously the votes, but these people that like maybe like for like an ANC president, there's Wogweda Mandashe, there's also one that elect Cyril Ramaphosa to be president. So I don't in the student command, whatever, there's guys that put you there, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
And then when
The
you're there on
president appoints
top,
me.
I don't think you actually call the shots. They still tell you what to do, what to say, how to go about it. Don't
No,
they?
there's like there's of course like independence, and what you do on a daily basis is totally up to you, right? But if, for instance, you do things that are not necessarily aligned to the organization, of course the organization would call you into order.
Okay.
And I think that's to be expected. But it's not a thing of like every day I go into the office, they tell you, Wigi's at 8 o'clock, you're doing this, that. No. And that's the one thing I really love about the EFF. You can, and it's what the president was speaking about, your creativity and how much you want to do in that particular office. You don't have a lot of people telling you what to do at what time. You really like, you do your own thing until you don't do what you're supposed
to do.
Yeah. Not supposed to do, but until you do something that's contrary to what the organization says. Then it's like, no, I don't do that.
So you have freedom to make decisions and you're well, but in compliance to the rules of the EFF.
But the rules of the EFF are rules that make sense.
Okay. I don't know. I've never really been in a structure, but I learn as I go. Shebeshkt, right?
Sure.
He recently had an interview. That was his first interview since he's released from the hospital and stuff like that, right?
Quite
You guys, Julius Manima, CIC rather, paid for his fees, right? So, do you feel like he was obligated to come to the EFF podcast and do that interview?
No, not really. I mean, I don't really know how we reached out, the technical aspect of that. But with all our guests, I mean, the EFF helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
Take people to school quietly. We've got a pilot school going on. We build houses for many communities. So those things for us, we're not paying anyone to do anything or coercing them to anything.
Sure.
So we asked Shebeshkt. In fact, Shebe spoke about us at the launch of his documentary, even without our knowledge.
Oh, yeah, I was
So he said that, look, I'm very appreciative to the commander-in-chief. He came to me in a time of need. The president is a very giving person, by the way.
That's true.
And a lot of the things that he does, he doesn't announce them himself. If you check even the Shebe incident, he's not the one who announced it. So he helps a lot of people quietly. Like the Bible scripture, hide what this hand does to the other hand. So he's that type of a guy. So he's not, we didn't force him to come there, but I think Shebe, because he appreciates what the EFF leader and the commander-in-chief did for him, he thought, let me come and share some of my story at the EFF podcast. And I thought it was a very good podcast, by the way.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you possibly think that it's intentional that the EFF is so involved in the creative space, right? Because I think if you look at what South Africans consume, it's like social media, it's what's done on TV and all of that. Or do you think that it's possibly the people, the personalities themselves that find, like how you said, find expression within the EFF and believe in what the EFF is saying?
Yeah. Look, I think it's a combination of both. There definitely is a deliberate program to say, how do not just the creative space.
Yes.
Because there are different spaces of people's power in society.
Yeah.
Whether it's, in the community through your SGBs, whether it's your youth, whether it's your NGOs, your soccer teams, your artists. So the EFF is a deliberate project through its founding manifesto and main document to say we must be able to be found in these
everywhere
organs of people's power. Where people organize themselves.
Organs of people's power.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tami has 250,000 followers on TikTok. We want to be on that page.
So we are very deliberate. But of course, even they make it easy for us.
Because they like
because
it.
they resonate with the message of the EFF. But there is definitely a deliberate program to reach out to these spaces.
I think that's actually really interesting, because if you look at, for instance, like media, right, and people that run media, so the top-down approach, it's normally like white people that don't necessarily like the EFF or people that align to that message, right?
Yeah.
But I think what the approach that the approach that the EFF has taken is a down up approach. So you go to the people, right? You go to their spheres of influence, and you don't necessarily rely on the big media platforms, and you rely on people. Like you rely on people that would probably share whatever you think and stuff like that. I think that's actually quite interesting, actually.
CJ, President, rather. I need to learn these terms.
You can say, you can even say Lonzi.
Oh, Lonzi.
Yeah.
When Floyd Shivambu left the party, I felt like that was a very big dent, right? He left a very big dent. There was a void. I could see in the media, it was painted on social media, it was painted heavily, right? CSC came out, the briefing wasn't really, but later on he came out really strong, right? In a way, I felt sorry for him. I felt like he was betrayed and stuff. But in a sense, I feel like this is politics. You guys probably saw it coming, right? And you later on, you came out with files.
He said, I'm going to fetch you.
The guy asked me,
I'm going to fetch you.
I just responded.
No, what was the harassment about?
He texted me at 2 a.m. I said, hey, brah, please stop texting me at 2 a.m.
What was the text? What did he say?
No, look, I critiqued online to say that us as young people in the EFF were not persuaded that this comrade has taken a principled position.
Yeah.
Because this organization that he's claiming to go to, as far as we're concerned, we don't know what it stands for.
Of course.
And we know what our organization stands for. So there's nothing that could have driven him to join that other than other
things,
selfish and shady interests.
Real.
So I put that there like as general thing. And then 2 a.m. As I'm doing my regular prayers about to sleep, I get a text message from this guy to say, hey, don't do this, take that down. Or I said, you're no longer my DP.
How?
Please stop talking to me and you can't text me at 2 a.m. Then he went on and then I was like,
No, but you going and posting everything on social media, was that you pledging your loyalty to CIC?
Not necessarily.
To the organization.
I said to him, because the idea was that he wanted to silence us.
Yeah.
And that's how someone silences you. When they come to you privately and then they want to start to speak to you in private. So I said to him, stop this thing, otherwise I'm going to put it out there.
Yeah.
And then he said to me, no, if you do that, I'll share some other messages that you've sent to me, begging me for this and that. I'm like, I've never begged you for anything. So I said, let me do it so that
you can send it. Yeah.
And then till this day, we've not seen anything. So Floyd was taking chances.
So are you guys good? Are you guys on good terms, or is it
I haven't spoken
sour
to him since. Look, I've got no reason to be sour. I was just saying, back off. You're a traitor, you're a betrayer. But it's fine. It's water under the bridge. The EFF is continuing. It's building its structures. It's doing oversight work. Like, we've got a life outside of the guy.
Yeah.
So it was just to say, go away.
But I mean, like, if you was to walk into a room with you sitting with CIC, what would happen? Would it just be cordial? Would it be normal? Would you guys still share a drink?
I don't know about sharing a drink because you can't trust someone like that. But anyway, I don't think we'd have issues. But I don't know, what would you be doing to come meet us to do what? A room to do like what? What would be the setup? You
know what I heard in the streets, CK? I heard that Fikile Mbalula, this is probably wrong. I heard that Fikile Mbalula and CIC are like very good. They're very good friends.
Look, leave the friendship
outside of the media, because on social media it's like they're always big on Twitter, press conferences, like Mbalula this, Julius this, but like behind the corners they're like.
Look, besides the friendship part, I think and this is with the most mature politicians, is that when we disagree politically, it does not necessarily mean we're fighting personally.
Sure.
I mean, the president will meet Cyril taking a walk or whatever around Sandhurst, and it's like, how's it? And they're fine. But we still disagree with him robustly in Parliament. We're working there, we're not friends. But it doesn't mean now if I bump into you at the airport,
and
I must be angry. No, we'd be fine with the guy. He'd be bitter, because I think he's now realizing that he made the worst decision in his life.
Actually.
And it's eating him up inside. Otherwise, why else would he be texting people at 2 a.m. in the morning?
And also, just generally, like, his behavior on social media is always like posting like, that's the best decision I've ever made. But like, I think we all just want to know, like, is there a bigger reason why this man left? Like, I really think it's just not just.
No, he would know.
So you don't know.
To do with it.
But I mean,
He
they
would
said
know.
there's still a seat for him if he wants to come. But in the press conference, the first one,
Yeah.
CIC said that there's still a seat for him open. If he wants to come back, he can come back whenever.
We wouldn't agree as young
Yeah,
people.
hey,
You wouldn't
actually.
agree?
No.
He felt like he broke you guys'
there's
loyalty and trust.
The seat, Shem, is no longer there. It's no longer there.
I feel
Look,
like,
it's in the the EFF. You don't just leave and come back in, because that's how you make your organization vulnerable to infiltration.
Yeah, true.
Where characters can just come in and out as and when they wish. So it's EFF police that is not allowed. So we wouldn't be saying anything out of the ordinary. We'd just be saying leadership. The EFF doesn't allow this comrade to come back. So can you please go far from us?
so you guys would like legit go against CIC against his word, but because he did say that, I mean, the man is allowed to
we
come back.
remind the president. Say,
Yeah,
President, you are the
actually.
one who taught us that these people can't just
Be trusted.
waltz in and waltz
Real.
out of our organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On a more lighter note, right? I really enjoy like grooving with like politicians because
Sure.
whenever I like get a bit tipsy, I start speaking like you guys. I speak. I'm like, hey, leadership. Hey, now we must account for that bill. You know, we must and stuff like that. It's been really fun. You know, I see a
Yeah.
lot that like youthy and we always turn up. It's always fine.
Yeah.
This past weekend, well, Saturday or Sunday, CIC again. I don't know why you're talking about him a lot, but it's just making in the news recently. He was at Miketi, and I think Kabza was it was Sepo's birthday, and he gave a speech, a very beautiful speech, and he was like interacting with the youth. I think we can put the clip somewhere here, right? For the audience to like hear.
Sure.
And give a speech, and it's like, yeah, let's all turn up, let's all have fun. We're gonna live here
At
at
7
7
a.m.
o'clock.
Sure.
Well, it's like Seeker's table in the section
Yeah.
is very welcoming.
Of course.
It's like everybody can just go there,
Yeah.
take a shot.
That's
just
the
pop that.
president.
You understand me?
Yeah.
It's so welcoming, man. But I learned that you're a nice person. You're very nice. I
Yeah.
love you so
Sure.
much.
Definitely.
You're very nice, but there's a different side of you
Sure.
that people don't really know. Because I feel like when we like this, we cool.
Yeah.
But as soon as you hop onto like Moses Mabhida and you give a speech,
Sure.
there's like this politician beast comes out.
Sure.
Like, do you understand?
Yeah,
Like, I don't
yeah.
know how you guys do it. Is it like you guys have like two sides to your lives, or is it just
Sure.
like business and pleasure?
No, I think what maybe a lot of like people tend to struggle with, especially
Yeah.
with people who live political lives, is that these are at the end of the day ordinary people just like you and me. Like I mean, if you come to where I stay during December, like you'll just see me there with my flip-flops walking to the tuck shop to go to the mall. I'm buying chips there. I'm working at home. At home, okay, I'm not even a president there. Like they send me, go wash dishes, go to this,
You
go
lying.
to that.
There's no you lying. You
I
lying,
think
Zike.
that's that's the thing about a lot of us. I think sometimes people they battle to. That's why others would have a problem with that video. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that video. It just shows that
He's
the commander in
human.
chief, like all of us, is a human being.
Yeah.
Such is life.
Like you know, if you prick him, you'll feel pain. If you cut him,
Yeah.
blood will come out like everyone else. So we're ordinary people, but of course we've got this responsibility to try and persuade society to be better, to try and bring about change in society. So we'll have those moments where we have to be serious about things. But like you said, I mean, when we are chilling on a weekend, we're fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking about Limpopo again, are you for the entertainment industry? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I support entertainment industry a lot. I may not always be up to date with the trends,
Yeah.
but I try my best to be in touch with what's happening in entertainment. Yeah,
So what happened recently is this is like me going to like my proper line of work, right?
sure.
So Oscar Mbo recently was in Limpopo, and then I think he got the lady whatever, and then Karishma, which is one of the prominent artists in Limpopo. I think you know her, Karishma. One of our Choksale Mola. She was performing, and then she was removed off of stage by Oscar Mbo so that he can perform and stuff like that. But he later on went on and like sent an apology, and I think they're good right now. But now in the comments this week, I think 3 days ago,
Sure.
a fan was like, Oscar Mbo, don't ever come to Limpopo again. What no mura, you know?
That's
Your
how
babies are
sharp,
very,
man.
we like it, no mura, don't come to Limpopo again.
Yeah.
And then Uncle Mbo was like anya.
Like
You know,
you,
including
sure,
yourself, man.
yeah.
Including yourself. What's your
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think it's appropriate for an artist to just say such?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. Because I think like artists are public figures and they have a responsibility to, I understand they're human, but they have a responsibility to protect their brand. Because I mean, like, if you say stuff like that on social media, people will also learn to come at you sideways. I don't think so. So I think like you need to strike a balance with social media, I guess. Because people are just weird on there. But I know the president has a lot of experiences where he was just like, okay. And I like how you like do your social media. Like you get to the point. It's never personal. It's always political. So I've never seen a tweet where you're just cursing someone off.
Yeah,
Like,
no. Look, I have my moments, but I don't. I've not seen this clip of Oscar Mbo, but I do think like maybe you'd know better about this than me.
Yeah.
But sometimes these artists must just chill, man.
Yeah, like just relax.
I mean, I remember there was an incident in Eastern Cape. So there's this guy who was a local artist there. I think he sings these traditional songs. I don't know if it was MT or Nasty C or
Probably empty. Probably empty.
Who said, or Youngstar?
I think you talking about the Youngstar.
Youngstar.
Yeah.
Then he was like, no, I can't sit on the table with this
Yes,
guy.
it
It's
was
like,
it was
just
Stana.
relax, my man.
Ish.
I mean, I think
not
all of
that
us
deep.
must not try to take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to be treated with respect. When it's your time to perform, you want to be given that. But don't be a horrible person. Like, there's no need to.
There's no
push
upper class. You
Karishma
need to put yourself
out
up there.
Out of the stage. I like Karishma, but I recently learned about her now because we were busy with SRC elections at UJ, and then people were saying they want Karishma.
Yeah, of
I have
course.
no
It's
idea
hard.
who
And I had
It's
to go
hard.
and find out who is this Karishma. I listened to a song. I said, I know.
She's proper.
Yeah.
Okay, are we going to the Chris Brown concert?
Let's go. No, we're not going.
I'm not a. I don't know.
You just said
I'm
let's
not
go.
a Chris
No.
Brown fan.
Cut your tongue.
But I don't know Chris Brown songs, man. Like I don't. I even got them, but I don't know what is happening there.
Oh, it's a concert.
Um,
It's happening at Soccer City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
FNB Stadium.
Yeah, I know about the concert. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first show's already sold out. Now that second tickets are out, I think the first they sold about 96,000 tickets. She's anti going to the concert.
Yeah, no. Why
She
would
doesn't
you
want to go
to the
there. She's
concert?
like, she's a pure feminist. I don't know what the problem is. She's with Women for Change. So they basically like, there's a petition going on. They're like, we're not going to the concert. We're not going to go support an abuser. You understand me?
Oh, yeah.
And honestly speaking, President, who do you think bought the most, which gender do you think bought the most tickets to the Chris Brown event?
No. Can we clarify that
You
firstly?
can clarify
No,
Chris Brown things.
I really think, we shouldn't even look at which gender is buying the tickets because it's not as if like all women are feminists. Let's get that point right first, right? So women are born and live in a society that's inherently patriarchal. So it's not something that's foreign to assume that they'd also be patriarchal unless you take yourself seriously to ensure that you're not, right? So my biggest problem, right, is that everything around that concert doesn't make sense. So for instance, if you look at our stance as a country on gender-based violence, our supposedly how much we invest in the fight against gender-based violence, it doesn't make sense. The rape conviction rate in South Africa and bringing in an artist like that and the message you're sending out to young people and people that are abusers simply doesn't make sense. That's my stance. And also, it's like literally days after the thingy, what's it called?
August month or what?
No, the 16 days of
Sure.
activism against gender-based violence in the country. The timing is wrong. He doesn't deserve to be here. There's so many countries that have revoked his visa for performing in those countries. And I don't understand why the world capital thingy of gender-based violence would allow someone like that to perform in that country. That doesn't make sense on so many levels. It doesn't.
Yeah, you well spoken. I don't know. You well spoken, but
You bought
What time
tickets.
is it?
I don't. I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily agree with you, right? Just like this thing I have of CK. She's very popular. She does a lot of commentary. I'm gonna read this out of
Okay.
what she said
I don't
regarding
like that girl.
Yeah,
But anyways, yeah, read it out.
I value her opinions. She's
Yeah,
bold
but
and
opinions are whack.
We must bring her to the podcast.
Yeah, let's
yeah,
actually.
we are.
Why
We are.
not?
She's
should,
definitely
yeah.
Why
coming,
not?
You know, so she said, they must leave Chris Brown alone, right, and stop acting brand new. Cancel culture will always be unrealistic and ineffective because they always have to pretend they don't understand how life and human nature works. Quest to stand for something. Like we're saying,
Sure.
we turn up, we late, we get drunk, we're gonna go home at like 7 and stuff like that. It's normal. We're all human. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then she's like, furthermore, she's like, you have to hold celebrities to a perfect God standard, and when they fall short, because they are 100%, nobody's 100%.
Yeah,
we all
no
make
one
mistakes,
is
you know.
yeah, sure.
You have to punish them for the rest of their lives just to prove that you don't stand for violence or whatever.
Okay, President, wait, sorry. This is a question to you. Like, as a public figure, do you not think you have a certain level of responsibility, right? In terms of what you say on social media, the message you drive, and what you teach young people. Don't you think
Sure.
you have some level? Because you're a public figure and you've said, okay, I want to be in the limelight and I want to influence how people think, the conversations they have, and all of that. Do you not think that you have a bigger responsibility than like a normal person in South Africa?
Look, there is most certainly a big responsibility for someone with the stature, I think, of Chris Brown or any public figure. And I mean, I don't know this Sihla girl, she shares a name with me. But I think, I mean, what I'd ask her really is that, look, there are certain mistakes that we can allow as society.
Sure, of course.
You know, maybe you were found drinking somewhere, you passed out, or I don't know what you saw at someone. But there are certain mistakes that need a much harsher and higher level of accountability.
That's real.
You know, like beating a woman or sexual harassment or even killing someone.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a while even for someone like Jup Jup to get out of, you know, what he had done many years ago.
Yeah.
Of course, we must. Well, in South Africa, I don't know how it is in the States, but essentially in South Africa we don't have prisons. We have rehabilitation centers. So the idea is that when you go in, we must, by all means, try to rehabilitate you back into society.
Sure.
So there's that appreciation which I have. I may not know the nitty-gritties of the Chris Brown case, but I do think that there are certain actions that it's not enough for us to just say, this guy made a mistake, we're fine, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna come back to Are prisoners allowed to vote? Do they vote?
Yeah.
They vote.
Prisoners, you guys you campaign in prisons.
We've had some of our leaders go quietly to try and persuade, especially the just that this guy I don't think he's EFF anymore.
Who?
Or he stopped coming. He was a prisoner of apartheid. Kenny.
Oh yes.
He used to do a lot of work in prisons. I don't know if he's a member, but I think he stopped being active. I must not be shamed.
So you wait. I'm sorry. This is not a laughing man. So you guys actually go there like with like red t-shirts and red caps and you go campaign in prisons and you're like, please vote for us. This is our agenda.
It's a constituency.
Those are, like I said, not all of them are. Some of them committed mistakes that we can, they can be rehabilitated back into society. Because I mean, there are many, especially the court system of South Africa. I mean, someone can be put in remand for like 6 months for having stolen chocolate at ShopRite. I remember during our days when we were protesting on campus and we'd get arrested and then we'd be held at the holding cells. And then we start to, I'm saying during my days in Hati, I'm old, not so long ago.
When you're like
and then
this.
we get put in the holding cell. And then, especially the one in Mowbray, in Mowbray in Cape Town, there's a magistrate court there. And then there's a lot of colored kids there. And then you start to ask them, like, why are you here? If I know I stole chocolate, I stole bread, I stole this. And then someone can be kept there for 6 months, even to a year.
That's crazy.
There's a problem with the lawyer, or some documents are not filled, or they don't have an identity, or they don't have the address, and just get kept there. So we must be able to speak to them. Not just to vote for us, but also to say, look, you have an opportunity to be a better human being tomorrow.
Okay. But what do you promise somebody that has like 4 life sentences and whatever? 50 more years for rape, right? What do you promise that person that we're gonna give you a nice bed, we're gonna give you a nice sponge, a nice blanket, you're gonna get your food on time, you're not gonna be raped? Is that what you promise them there? Because what are you gonna promise them, like free education or like the things that you guys promise us? I know there's education there, but I mean I've got 5 left sentences, bro. What am I gonna do with education?
I mean, try to improve.
Look, we don't make promises in prison.
You don't.
We preach the message of the EFF.
Yeah.
We preach what type of society that the EFF would like to see. We also preach what type of prison system must the EFF have. Because remember, actually what we get to learn in South Africa, a lot of people go to prison and they come back worse. Like I can get arrested for, I don't know, pickpocketing someone. I go to prison, a lot of bad things happen to me inside there. And because so many bad things happened inside there, I'm a criminal for life. By the time I come back, I'm like, I don't care about anything.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to commit even more crimes. So even the prison systems in South Africa, they are not designed. It's old apartheid prison structure. They're not designed in a manner which seeks to rehabilitate these people. So we engage with all of them.
Sure.
I'm not sure about the cases you're talking about now, but we engage even with prisoners.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay. I feel like we should just do this girl justice and finish reading this thing. Yeah. And then we'll move on to the next thing. That's why now the people that loved your page and what it stood for are disagreeing with your stance, because we all know that's not fair. Neither of us have the right to do that, right? And she speaks a lot about, like, you know, slave queens, social issues. Is she anti?
Yeah, she's not a feminist.
She's not a feminist. She's anti-feminism. Yeah, she's a strong, vocal woman. And then furthermore, she says, I can speak against slave queens, baddies, and promotion of prostitution, and the people that do it as much as I want. But the minute I leave no room for them to ever change or wish for them to starve and die just because they have done things I don't agree with, then I've completely lost it and nobody should ever support what I say. She's basically saying, like, Chris Brown has done his time and he should be forgiven, and we must just basically move on. He's done his time. They did the crime, serve the time.
I don't agree with that. Because the thing is, so for instance, if you look at, so let's say he did his time and whatever, let's say in the perfect world, he was rehabilitated, he knew what he did was wrong, right? Sure, fine, let's forgive him. But what you see with like Chris Brown particularly is that even after the Rihanna case, even if after he did the community service or went to jail, he still continued. Like his acts of violence didn't stop. He was stalking Karuchi Tran for some time and she had a restraining order against him. And it's just the thing of there's a build-up, like there's a continuous build-up throughout the years with this man. And he doesn't show any remorse. So you can't say someone like that has been rehabilitated. I don't think Chris Brown even thinks what he did to Rihanna is bad at this point, because he doesn't necessarily show any form of remorse. He doesn't try to be like, okay, let me not fight people in the streets. Let me not beat up people. Let me actually uphold the rule of law. He hasn't. And that's what's particularly wrong with Chris Brown and, for instance, Diddy, right? So if you look at celebrity culture in America particularly, people will do heinous things for years and years and years just because they have the social capital, they have the money, they have people that believe in them. And that's what's wrong with society. People are just like, okay, I like his music and I want to sing No Guidance in FNB Stadium. We want to vibe out. And this person has done crazy things to not only women, to other men, to general people in society. And that's problematic. And that's why it took 12 years for Diddy to actually go to court for the things he's committed. And that's the problem with celebrity culture, that we see these people as, oh no, but hi, let's forgive them. They've learned their lessons, and they haven't necessarily shown that they've actually learned their lessons. So 12 years from now, do you want to sit back then and be like, okay, let's cancel Chris Brown after the fact he's performed in South Africa?
No, but okay. Has there been cases after he's done his time for what he did to Rihanna?
Yes.
Did he? How far did they go? Did he go to prison? Did he come out, ask for forgiveness again? What was the repercussions?
So for instance, like I can go through a whole timeline about what happened after 2009 because the Rihanna case and Chris Brown case. Sorry, President.
No, guys.
The Rihanna case and Chris Brown case was like in 2009.
Yeah.
So he has like almost each and every year he has something. I had this page open. He had something. So 2015, Karuchi was like, I don't want to see this man ever again. She had a restraining order against him.
Mm-hmm.
He broke the restraining order. He's been arrested in so many countries. He's been arrested in the Philippines. He's been arrested not just in America. He's been arrested in other countries. His visas have been declined in other countries. To show about like everyone in the world is conscious of the fact that this man is an abuser.
So are you saying South Africans are not aware or they just don't care?
They don't care. Evidently, they don't care. Maybe some of them are not aware. Maybe I'll give that.
Just like I didn't know, I wasn't aware of all of that, if that's actually true.
So what are we saying, Jay, as a society? Are we saying, no, it's fine if you have the hype, if you have a song featuring Drake, like you can go on there and you can perform? Like what? And literally the world's rape capital and gender-based violence. What are we saying, guys? As a society. And the fact that he sold out in 2 hours is what really hacked me. Because yes, guys, it's mostly women that buy those tickets. But like when things happen to women and all of that, we all go on social media, we all say how bad things are and everything, but we don't acknowledge where these things start. This in itself is like a form of rape culture when you don't necessarily hold abusers accountable.
It's part of culture?
Rape culture.
What's like rape? The one I know. Oh, is it a fancier word?
So rape culture doesn't start when someone is raped,
okay,
right? Rape culture starts with the jokes we make like, oh no, but like, what the hell was she doing at 12 o'clock in a club, like drunk, passed out? What was she thinking? Ha ha ha, we laugh about that. That's rape culture.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the small things we say in conversation, the things that we allow in conversations boil down or go deeper and become a bigger issue, become gender-based violence, become rape in itself, become sexual assault, and all of that. So if we don't necessarily start literally at the grassroots level and we try to say, this is wrong, guys, you can't make jokes about certain things, you can't speak about certain things, we need to have policies that are actually intentional when it comes to rape and gender-based violence. It just doesn't start with someone just raping someone. It doesn't start there. Like that's the worst. The worst is rape and murder, you know? But it doesn't start there. It starts with the conversations we have. It starts with the people we allow to see on TV, what my brother can listen to, what my brother thinks is correct. So if we bring Chris Brown, that's sending a message to young people that you can beat a woman to a pulp and you'll still be fine.
Not necessarily, no. I don't think it's that.
I
think a lot of people are not aware of the things he's done, right? I'm still going to do a bit of research on that and I'll come back in the next episode and I'll talk about it and stuff like that. But what I know is that the concert is going to be a success and it's going to be filled, and the second part is definitely...
It's not.
And I think the second part is definitely going to be sold
now
out.
I'm going to make it my
and
personal
there's a lot of people that are complaining saying
that...
that...
You bought a ticket, Taki?
No, I haven't bought a ticket.
Oh.
I'm not a big fan of Chris Brown.
Oh.
Yeah, but I know it's gonna sell out. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be packed.
We're going to
Women
put
for Change.
Pressure.
They're gonna obviously Women for Change. I support Women for Change. They're gonna boycott it.
Yes,
it's gonna be.
And he's not gonna come.
And with that, we support their structure.
He's not gonna come.
Understand the policies, but the man did a crime and he served the time. Why? You guys don't have majority. The EFF does not have majority in Tshwane, right? The mayor that was in Tshwane is from the Democratic Alliance. He was recently voted out, right? Motion of no confidence. But you remember his name? What is his name?
Brink, Silas Brink.
It's Silas Brink. I definitely know that, but not Chris Brown.
No, that's my... See now, you're coming to my forte. Because Chris Brown.
So now, is it possible that you guys might have a mayor from the EFF in Tshwane?
Yeah, it's very possible. Look, there's no... And this is what also happened in national government. When no one party gets an outright majority, in essence, the people of South Africa are saying, we don't trust any single organization to lead us. Otherwise, they would have just voted for one party to get 50% plus one. They put their mayor, they put their MMCs. Same nationally. If they trusted that the ANC should govern South Africa, they would have voted for 50% plus one for the ANC. Ramaphosa gets to put his cabinet, he's free. So when that happens, South Africans are saying organizations must now enter a coalition government.
Sure.
And the nature of a coalition government is that whoever comes in through the negotiations and the discussions will do some form of a power sharing with the other organization. So I've not been following the discussions of the leadership in Tshwane, but it would be nice if we were to get MMC 2 or 3 so that we can demonstrate to the people of Tshwane
what's an MMC?
MMC, think of it like it's a member of the mayoral council.
Yes.
Think of it like a cabinet of the mayor.
Yeah.
So you know how Ramaphosa is the president?
Yeah, and then
he's got
finance
ministers.
minister.
So it's much similar to that. So they get their own different departments. And then I think through us, getting some MMCs, we'll be able to demonstrate to the people of Tshwane, especially the people that are coming from the townships and the black communities, because the biggest problem where DA governs is that the DA does not look after black communities. It looks after the suburbs. That's why if you go to Cape Town and you're driving from the airport, on your left, you get to see the shacks, and then the closer you get to the mountain, now you start to see your Camps Bay, you start to see your Coke Bays and
but President, so it's like that everywhere. It's like
it's worse
we can't just subject it to Cape Town. It's like that even in Mamelodi. There's still Lusaka there at the back, and then you drive in these bars, and then you drive into like Silverton, and then you go to union buildings, and then you go into town.
The ANC as well has done a terrible job, but the inequalities it's more stark. In Cape Town.
I've always wanted to say this. Right? I'm not a politician. But everybody can be a coach. Like when we watch soccer, like we feel like, Taman why since I see come a billion like anybody can be a coach. I feel like it works the same in politics. It looks so much easier when you're not the one in position.
Look, that's why we're making the case, because before the EFF was saying, if the people don't vote for an outright political party, we won't participate in government. So that's what happened in 2016, where we said, look, we're just going to fold our arms. Whoever participates. Then we got to learn that actually South Africans want to see what will an MMC of the EFF look like? Like what would they do differently? Are they going to be reachable? Are they going to be approachable? Are they going to be accessible? Then we took a different organizational approach to say, let's participate in government and show the people, because sometimes people don't vote for you because they've got that doubt to say, hey, but these guys have been opposition for 10 years. We don't know if we can give EFF a young ministry. What will it do with the ministry? So we have to demonstrate through local government that when you've got EFF MMCs, they are always available, readily available. They're in the communities. They are meeting with people. They are delivering services. So we don't just want to coach now. We want to participate. The only thing we are disagreeing to do is that we're refusing to form part of the national coalition. Because it's essentially a coalition between the DA and the ANC. And we don't want to form part with the coalition with the racist DA.
Okay.
I have a question with regards to just generally the volatility of like coalition governments, right? So if you look at, let's say we take the city of Johannesburg as a case study. You've had so many mayors that come in and out of office and all of that. And do you possibly think there should be like a framework in terms of governance with regards to how do we actually navigate coalition governments? Because if, for instance, you're going to have a mayor that's going to be there for 5 months, thank you. If you're going to have like a mayor that's going to be there for 5 months and you're looking at service delivery and you're looking at how well they implement things like the IDP and all of that, they might struggle because they haven't been in office quite long. So what's your take and just generally the volatility of coalition governments? And this is not just unique to South Africa. Coalition governments in the world generally have a lot of volatility. So how do you then think, do we like look at coalitions governments in South Africa, and how do we build a framework that will ensure that even if there is volatility, things actually get done?
Look, I think we can learn from countries abroad. Germany has got a very good coalition government framework. So we can take from that, and many other countries that are led by coalition governments. But the nature of a coalition government is that it's going to be unstable because, again, there's no single winner. And the mistake that people often make, in particular those who get more votes than the other political parties, is that they tend to then have an entitlement government. To think that, look, just because I've got 30% and then you've got 20% and then you've got 15%, I must now, boss you around. But the fact of the matter is that
none of us
your 15%, is as significant as my
Yeah.
30% or insignificant as my 30%.
Not necessarily.
You
no.
didn't win.
You
I
didn't win.
but
Yeah.
I got more votes than you.
But you
Still.
didn't
But
win.
you didn't win.
Okay, fair, but still, I'm more important than you in this case. I have more power.
Okay.
You know, you guys are talking too much politics. Hey, this is a youth thing, Pam.
Yeah.
It's
But
for
the youth
Yeah.
must know.
The youth. So hey, so with regards to me asking about would you guys have like a mayor from the EFF and so on, why were you guys hitting tables there in Parliament? And that lady, the lady that was hitting the tables, I know her very well, right?
Yeah, she's
The regional secretary. She's
the regional secretary of Tshwane.
What power does that position hold?
It's
She's
essentially the administrative head of the whole
Of the
entire
whole region.
region
Yeah.
of the EFF. in
She's making
Tshwane.
a lot of money, ne?
No, there's no man in politics. There's no man.
There's no man.
Shem.
Ah,
We're struggling.
It's fine. So do you guys like the EFF, bro? Do you guys find disruption like? Is it a thing for you guys? You guys just want disruption? You want to cause chaos? Is it a thing that you guys have in you, or is it just attention-seeking tantrums in jail?
No, look, it's not really disruption, and it's also not attention-seeking.
Yeah.
I think South Africans must credit the EFF. A lot of us didn't even know that Parliament exists
True.
before the EFF came into existence. But now everyone is watching Sona, everyone wants to know what Cyril's going to say. But what EFF did very well when it entered government in 2014 was that it made the discussion much more lively and interesting for even an ordinary South African to want to say, what is actually happening?
No, but we watch it for you guys as disruption. I don't watch it to listen to.
What robust?
Yeah.
Look, you may
What
be.
does robust mean?
Like it's
What? Disruption.
like
not
it's pay
disruption.
attention.
Like we viciously call out or rather seek accountability.
Oh,
so we're
You engage, yes,
we
you-
aggressively
yes.
seek out accountability.
Yes.
No, but don't like proper political policies say that you write a petition, you do this, these structures,
some
not
of
for
the
you to be
things-
disruptive in Parliament.
Some things need a form of protest.
Yeah.
So protest is part of the democratic nature of like all societies.
Yeah.
Sometimes protesting doesn't mean you must bend tires or what. Sometimes protest means you
Just
must
stepping out.
bring out
Sure.
that energy
Yeah.
in Parliament.
Yeah.
So what she was doing there, she's not disrupting. She didn't break anything.
Yeah, no.
But she was just saying, "Hey, Chief, bring. You must
You're
go.
out. You're out.
You are not servicing the
You're
people of
out.
Tshwane. You must go." So we make Parliament, and not only Parliament, provincial legislatures, councils, we make it the center of protest. And by protest, we basically mean this robustness I just explained, to say aggressively holding government officials accountable. If it means we must stand on top of the table because when we are calling point of orders, these people are not listening to us, then we must be able to do that so that we're able to get the message across.
Okay.
But why are you guys not angry as South Africans? Because
Real.
there is a lot of wrong things that are happening in South Africa. Okay, leave South Africans. As a young person in South Africa, more than half the population of youth is unemployed. People don't have access to education. Basic education is practically collapsed. Higher education is practically collapsed. People are stealing money from NSFAS. And then you find a young person in the Institute of Higher Learning saying, no, the EFF is too
radical.
angry. It's like, why are you not angry?
Yeah.
You don't have school. You don't have funding for the following year.
President, right? I just want to say this. I just want to say this to every South African out there, right? Once you get comfortable in life, you brush a lot of things away. You don't see the things the same way as a guy that's sitting in the Timbisa in a back room or like in a shack sees things.
Sure.
Do you understand me? Right now, I feel like I'm in a very comfortable position.
Yeah.
I've got my apartment. I'm getting a car. I am living nice. I'm getting my salary. I'm
Sure.
eating nice. I can buy what I want. I can drink what I want. A lot of issues don't really bother me. I'm just doing fine.
But I think the president's question wasn't necessarily about like your particular experience, but just generally why the youth isn't like angry enough.
No, honestly, I think at the moment we are a bit angry because if you look at the elections and if you look at the lines, it was mostly the youth, especially what happened at Wits. You saw the lines.
Yeah.
Dr. Mbo and Karishma came out there with coffees. They encouraged us to stay in lines. We're angry enough right now. And I mean, there's a difference in governments right now.
Sure.
That's the reason why we have the GNU. I feel like it's because of the youth. We
Yeah.
are angry. It's just that some of us are getting comfortable and we just like, you know what? Now it's my time to relax.
Yeah.
I've been suffering for 20 years. Now I need to relax and enjoy this money and just not care about these lines and all of these things. You understand me?
Okay.
It happens to most people.
So, okay, my other question is, what role do you think possibly like political parties should play, right, in trying? Because I hear what you're saying. Yes, we were angry enough, but when you see the result, it's not necessarily reflecting
enough.
what I would want.
You wanted
the results.
you wanted the EFF to obviously win
Of course,
and stuff.
of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
So, what do you think then political parties need to do to ensure that they garner the support of youth? Like, what is it? Like, how do I reach out to the youth to ensure that I get my message across and all of that?
How do you get your message to the youth?
Yeah.
I mean, guys, listen, if you make programs like the NYDA easily accessible
Okay.
to the youth,
Sure.
then that really will count a lot.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the youth are now aware. There's everything on social media. We encourage people to vote. I'm one of the influencers that was encouraging people to
Yeah,
vote.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
been so much easier. So there's nothing more we can do at this moment. Do you understand me? Everything is right there in black and white, guys. There's social media. There's all of stuff.
Everything.
Don't get me into politics because you're gonna get me into trouble.
President, what do you think?
We
What do you
need
think?
we need to get youth, a lot of them, registered to vote.
Yes.
So what we realized on voting day is that, yes, look, they came out, especially the students, and
Yeah.
we are very happy. Not only Wits, but when we looked at a lot of the voting districts
Yes.
across the country where there are students next to it, we've won them. To a point of even won the awards. I mean,
Yes.
if you look at UCT,
Yes,
won the
yes,
award,
yes,
and
yes,
that's
yes,
a
yes,
DA
yes,
award.
yes, yes.
But because of students, the EFF was able to win that. But not enough youth are registered to vote. Look, in South Africa, there are about, could be getting the numbers wrong, but plus minus
majority is
12
youth.
million people
Yeah.
that are eligible to vote, but they don't vote. Then we've got another now group of people, especially between the ages 18 to 24, 18,
Sure.
or youth in general.
Sure.
They are not registered. They're not.
Yeah.
So you guys, I mean, we must also do our work to go and engage with communities, to reach out to the youth. And that's what we're trying with these different type of
Yeah.
innovations.
These messages
But
should be communicated
yes,
on
we
this
need
podcast.
young people to register to vote. That's the first hurdle.
Of course.
If we can get at least more than 90% or 100% of youth, by youth I mean 16 or 15 to 35 to 34,
yeah.
all of them register to vote, I guarantee you, my man, EFF young.
So would you think then that like our focus as the EFF would, and I understand that majority right now, what we focused on was like higher institutions of learning, TVET colleges and also universities. But if you look at majority of the youth, they're not necessarily enrolled into any university and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So would you think then our focus would then have to change from being just into institutions, not just institutions, but also going out to communities and actually having programs that speak to the youth in those communities?
But are you guys focused on like universities?
No, I don't think 100%, but I think there's a heavy focus on institutions.
Oh, so then why did you lose Works then?
President.
I really think, if you look at its politics and if you look at what students think, so I don't think that students don't necessarily have knowledge about national politics and what's happening.
Okay, wait. Okay,
nationally.
I'm gonna come back to you.
President, ask me that question.
You've been too political.
I'm not being political.
I just want to ask. You see that guy?
Maratari.
That guy with an afro. I think he's with the Black Party now. The guy with an afro.
Which one is that one?
That was a meaning.
Yeah. Was he with the EFF when he was like striking there and when he was arrested?
No, that guy was never EFF. However, the EFF helped him a lot.
Yeah,
with court cases.
Yes.
When he was arrested in prison, we were there, we were helping him.
Okay.
Because the EFF was very invested in the struggle of Fees Must Fall.
That was Fees Must Fall was 2014, 15?
15.
For 2015, nah?
Yeah.
I was still in high school.
He was not with the EFF?
No, it was never EFF. No.
Oh, okay. So then,
Can
but obviously, people like myself think that he was with the EFF because of the help he got. He was like a true fighter, that one. He's still a true fighter. Speaks very well spoken. So when you have guys like these ones in charge, they leading vets, but they can't keep up to that standard. What do you make of it, President? Because I feel like they're losing the plot now.
Okay.
We winning in
But
TUT.
you didn't allow me to
we winning
finish.
in
Yeah.
Verse.
Let-
We're
let-
winning in every other
Yeah,
university.
sure.
What are you guys doing?
No, let her
How,
finish her
like-
point.
Okay, it's fine. Sorry.
That
My
was so
bad.
disrespectful. honestly.
My bad. Sorry, it's not that deep. Sorry.
So I don't think the Wits population or the youth at Wits is like oblivious to what's happening nationally, right?
Okay.
I don't think that they're oblivious, because if they were oblivious, they wouldn't have voted for the EFF in the national elections, right? However, there's something that you need to consider when it comes to student politics and generally how you garner student votes on any campus, right? So for instance, and this is just really, I think, a horrible reflection of why young people vote, right? Even when it comes to SRC elections. So when you look at the EFF, when you look at the ANC and like resources that are available, if you look at the number of people that voted for the EFF, I think our numbers were sitting at like 6,000 for our highest candidate. And Saska was sitting at around like 7,000 or something. So if you look at that margin, it wasn't big, right? And then you then go into why wasn't that margin that big and why didn't we get elections? Like, why didn't we win, right? So when you look at the Youth League, when you look at Saska, when you look at the Young Communist League, those people get money from the coffers of the state. The EFF is not part of the GNU, doesn't get money from the state. So then you wouldn't necessarily then want to compare the amount of resources that each party gets. If you come to a student
wait.
and you're
I
like,
just wanna
wait,
make-
this is the second time you just try,
I want to make
wait.
this easier for our listeners, right? So you saying like the people in charge, like the ANC and they did because they're part of the GNU, they funding these little
Of
ones
course they are.
so that they can influence and take over power again from you guys.
Of course
that
they
are
are.
not part of the GNU.
Of course
I
they
wasn't
are.
interrupting you. I just
You
made it
did.
easier. Sorry, you can carry on.
Yes. So if, for instance, you come to a campus and you come to a campus with whatever, like you say grocery packs, you come to a campus and you say, I'm going to give you ice cream or whatnot, and you say vote on the spot right now. And yes, and it's very sad that like, if you think of Wits and you think that Wits is like the intellectual, like midwife of South Africa,
Yeah.
that people vote because they're given something, that's a reflection of our society. And I think we need to question ourselves
But
also.
hunger's everywhere. It versus the TUT. It doesn't
Sure,
matter. Yeah.
but are we just voting because we're hungry, or are we voting because we want to change something? I think if the youth is voting because we're hungry, then we're not going anywhere. Because the people that are going to save you from your hunger, like right now, in the short term, is the ANC, sure. But in the long term, does the ANC actually cater to what you need? Does the ANC give you jobs? Does the ANC ensure that you have land in places where it's important to have land? Does the ANC ensure that artists like Chris Brown don't come to South Africa? Does the ANC ensure that the youth in itself have places where they can learn and have conducive environments to learn? It doesn't. So if the youth is just going to say, okay, because you're going to give me ice cream and because you're going to give me a t-shirt, then I'll vote for you. I don't think then, even then, it's fair for the EFF to say, sharp, we got those votes. I think the only time it's important then to get people's votes is when people are like, I know what I'm voting for. I'm voting for the EFF because of a matter of principle,
Yeah.
not because of a matter of you can give me a grocery pack, you can give me that.
Yeah,
Then
but I
if
feel
those
like-
are the politics we running into as the youth, it's a very dangerous terrain we're running into. And I would want the youth to actually be conscious of the things that they're voting for. And I think to a certain extent they're conscious, but also populism affects majority of us. If you come to me and you're like, I'm gonna give you a grocery pack, vote for me.
No, but here's the thing, right? Here's what I believe. I believe EFF policies is what we need in the country. I'm
Of
not trying to be
course.
biased, right?
Definitely.
But I don't think they are communicated right. With things like the open borders, like let's allow all foreigners. It's things that Abu Muammar Gaddafi were trying to implement before they were assassinated and stuff like that. They are just not communicated right.
Sure.
I don't think the message is put across correctly
Okay.
from my point of view. I'm not a
yeah.
politician, but it's not communicated right. Like with what you're saying, that's very smart. And I actually do understand what you're saying. But
Yeah.
to the masses, it's not communicated correctly. Because even CIC did say
Okay.
that what I'm saying right now, yes, we want to implement this, but I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of suffering.
Yeah, people don't want to
obviously,
suffer.
opening borders, taking back the land. There is going to be a lot of suffering that's going to happen, President. There is going to be a lot of, and he does say that there's going to be a lot of suffering. I don't think people are actually ready for that. But it's going to not benefit me. I'm like, what, 25? It's going to benefit me, yes. But it might not benefit like a 70-year-old.
Yeah.
They might pass away before they actually reap the benefits, but their kids are going to benefit all of that. And for the next, and the next generation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not communicated right.
I think there's and this is why platforms of this nature are very important.
Yes.
And even for an organization like the EFF, to have a way of communicating its policies independently, because there's a lot of misinformation that is out there. We all know the media is owned by white capital, so it doesn't love the EFF. So it's always going to want to paint the EFF in a particular image that is not necessarily appealing to society.
Yeah.
So our job is now to say we must have mediums where we can be able to communicate our own stories in simple ways. So something like this, for example, you may be right. I mean, I don't want to disagree with you too much because you are not in the political space.
Yeah.
You are here, you are saying there are certain EFF policies I don't understand.
Yeah.
So it's a responsibility of a platform like this to say, how do we break these things down and simplify them such that even someone who may not understand political language, didn't read Marx, didn't read this, didn't read about Pan-Africanism, how are they able to understand them? So that's what we're engaged in. But what I can tell you, my brother, is that a lot of the things that we see in the media, even about the EFF open border policy, it's misinformation.
Yeah.
Look at what happens in, I think it's Deb in eThekwini. Someone presents a motion to say that let us investigate all these shops around KZN or around eThekwini to find out if how many of these owners followed the correct paperwork to be owned to own the shops, to run the shops. How many of them are South African? How many of them are not South African?
You mean the Ethiopians that own the spaza shops?
Yeah, around
no. President, those guys are selling us fake stuff. Eh?
So
everything there is fake.
Look at what happens.
Everything. The only thing that's original there is probably airtime.
So,
from grandpa to cool drink to bread, even bread. Sorry.
But even you are engaged in misinformation. You can't say everything.
In those spaza shops, everything there.
It can be a lot of them.
Listen to me.
It can be a lot, but you can't say everything.
Yeah. You cannot be buying from spaza shop at this point in time. Everything there is fake. From cool beans, I'm telling you. Grandpa, LL250. Kingsley.
But listen to
guys. There's been videos on TikTok.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. But I'm saying don't be a propagandist.
I'm not a propagandist.
Don't say everything. Everything. But I'm not defending them. The point I'm making is that the EFF supports that motion. I think the MK supports it. Action SA supports it. The ANC votes against it. And because the ANC has a majority in the eThekwini municipality, the motion falls away.
But ANC doesn't have a majority. MK has a majority in eThekwini.
Only in local government. Remember, MK didn't contest local elections. They only contested national.
Yeah.
So in the council, it is the ANC that is refusing for us to investigate these fake things that you're talking about. But when I talk foreigners and open borders, what is the first political party to come to your mind? It's EFF.
Oh, you mean open borders? EFF. Yeah.
But it's the ANC that is fighting against us. Yes.
Okay.
So the point I'm making is that there's a lot of misinformation that is out there. We've got a responsibility to be able to communicate our own message in the manner in which we want to communicate it, so that we can counter the propaganda that comes from mainstream media.
Sure.
Because they want to paint us as a crazy organization that wants undocumented people to come. It's not true. We want everyone to be documented in South Africa, including South Africans. Thabo Bester didn't have documentation. So the problem of documentation is not a problem of only people outside of South Africa, even inside. I mean, if we have to check how many children are born, they don't have birth certificates. So you can't say the EFF doesn't want people to be documented, because once you don't have documentation, that's where you have crime. That's why we couldn't find the guy for so many years, because we're not even sure who is this guy.
If he exists.
And then we had the problem now recently with the Miss SA. So there's a lot of misinformation that is out there. And we must be able to create our own mediums to communicate them.
Okay, makes sense. That was a lot of politics. It's crazy, actually, eh? the EFF has like you guys. They have this game that they're implementing. I think it'll be available to everyone. It's about politics and the EFF structure, and about everything else. It's like 30 seconds, but politics. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
It's 30 seconds. Actually, we're going to call it, because we read some copyright stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're not allowed to use the word 30 seconds.
seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but don't
I don't know
30
why.
seconds.
So we're going to call it 26 seconds, because the EFF is a 26 July movement.
Oh,
it was born on the
really
26th of
proper.
July.
Yeah.
So you know how in 30 seconds we've got a timer
Yeah.
for 30 seconds.
So
for
this
you
one's
to
gonna be
answer.
26
It's gonna
seconds.
be 26
Yes,
seconds.
26 seconds is so short, but makes sense.
Yeah.
Should we play it a bit?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go.
we
Let's
can
go. Let's go,
try.
Tafi. So Tafi is going to describe.
Okay,
And
I'm
me
going,
and the
then
president.
me and you
going
are-
to
Oh,
guess.
guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna do 26 seconds. See how many we can get.
Yeah.
I feel I'm gonna pick the easiest ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone
is
can
not necessarily
you'll
gonna
time
be-
for us.
Yeah.
26 seconds.
Okay. When they wanted to remove their current MK president back in 2015, 2016, what was the hashtag?
Zuma must fall.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then
Exactly.
what is the current ANC president being implemented for? Like that thing that happened somewhere in Limpopo. What's the scandal? What is it called?
Palapal.
Yes, that's right. I feel like I need to do you guys now.
Hey, but I'm usually good at 30 seconds. What is that predict?
You can't beat me.
Yeah, I'm not showing it.
16 June 1976.
So it's uprising.
Dope. And then in Mendlin, there was a store that you guys boycotted. The EFF boycotted.
Clicks.
That one is
Dope. Okay, but what? Clicks what? The clicks, there's another word to it.
Clicks.
Yeah, but what are you guys doing there?
Store.
What are you guys doing at Clicks?
Clicks protest.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you wrote that so you'd know. What happened in 2020? The biggest thing that happened.
COVID.
Oh, what? COVID what?
COVID pandemic.
COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Yeah.
Hey, they like this word, hey? And I don't know how to explain it. Okay. Now known as X.
Twitter.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a fun game. Why do we climb there by I'm sorry, I can't say taxi. It's a cheetah. It's a rhino.
The big five.
Dope. Okay. Okay. When our politicians had to go to other countries.
Exile.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, you're
Come
showing
on.
her. You're showing her.
I'm trying to find like a really.
Give us a hard one, like a very hard one.
Wow. Our president, CIC. When there was this institution that took all of his belongings and sold all of
SARS.
them. That's dope. SARS.
Exactly.
Yeah.
26
Exactly.
seconds. Yeah, Pilar.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think you guys like kind of understand the point of the
won.
game, and I think it's really dope. I think it's really fun. You learn a lot from this and stuff like that. How much are you guys gonna sell this?
Yeah, we'll use it as part of the fundraising for our
The
SRC
organization.
elections. So we'll build the board game properly. We'll get the timer, we'll get the cards, like how it is on 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's another way to get young people, because we've got a lot of EFF words there. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got Uncle Tom, we've got when the EFF was formed, we've
Yeah.
got EFF leaders, we've got cardinal pillars, a lot of EFF policy on the
there.
game, but also
That's
other
beautiful.
interesting current affairs. So when you guys are chilling, you know, Tahi, there, you play EFF 30 seconds and get
Games
to know.
You know,
Right.
it's actually called the EFF 31 seconds, 100 cards, 500 words.
Yeah.
81
That's actually-
seconds.
Yeah,
EFF,
yeah.
EFF 81 seconds. And then any closing remarks before?
Wait, just before we close, President, it's SRC election season.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very important that young people go out and they vote. So
Yeah.
what's your parting words with regards to SRC
Look,
elections?
we've had a good run.
Yeah.
We've let down some campuses that were won last year.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to now go back and rebuid where we've lost ground. But we've broken new ground as well. And I think the message we're really sending out there is that the EFFSC is always there at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
When students need to access, education because of registration. The EFFSC is always fighting for students for student accommodation,
Yeah.
funding crisis, problems with the national funding scheme. So we're saying to the students of South Africa, let's remember those people who were with us in our trying times.
Sure.
Let us not be excited about ministers who only want to show up during SRC elections, but they're not there at the beginning of the year. Let us not be excited about T-shirts, because a T-shirt is not going to get you accommodation next year. A T-shirt is not going to get you registration. A T-shirt is not going to clear your student debt.
True.
So we're running a different campaign to say that these are the issues that are going to transform and change the lives of students in South Africa. Let's rally behind the FFSC. So this week we've got UJ. Let's vote FFSC at UJ.
Yes.
We've got UKZN. We've got University of Venda coming up. We've got Waterberg TVET College. It's a very busy week. We've got UWC also coming near.
Sure.
So yeah, we're busy.
Yeah.
We're all over.
the ground.
And we're saying students of South Africa must vote for the EFF Students Command. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's how I'll end it.
Yeah.
We good? Registrations, when are they closed now?
Yeah, most applications are closed to our institutions of learning.
Okay.
But of course, as the president had said, every year we run beginning of the year, Swine Ngani, and that program or initiative ensures that students get access. So even if you didn't apply, if you see a fighter on your campus, reach out to them, make sure you apply, make sure they get you in, especially if you have the marks for it. So I think my parting words are what the president had said: make sure you vote for the EFF on all campuses. Make sure you read our manifesto, and trust me, that manifesto probably speaks to what you need to change on your particular campus. And yeah, guys, that's it.
I think this is it from the EFFSC. I'll go by the name Tahi. Don't hate me too much in the comments. We'll be back with the second episode with a different... See, President was our guest for the day, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, next time I'm not coming.
We're going to have a different
I'm
guest
not
for the day.
available in the youth corner.
And I feel like we need to play that game every single time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a signature of this EFF Youth Corner podcast, right?
Yeah.
Shout out. I'll see you guys on the next episode. I love you guys so much, man. And we out.
Sharp.
Bye.
Yeah. Find your corner.